ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवी सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतस्य सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम्। हरे कृष्ण। So today I have been tasked with speaking about Lord Guruvayurappan. Many of you, I am sure, know a lot about Guruvayurappan, so for you this may not be any new information. Some of you may not know so much about Lord Guruvayurappan, so for you this could be something very interesting, and whatever it may be, everything about the Lord is always very sweet. And we also understand that when the Lord becomes Archavatara is actually the most munificent avatar of the Lord, in the sense that the Lord actually becomes dictated to by, the Lord actually becomes dependent on the devotee for everything. That is the wonderful nature of the Archavatara of the Lord. And the Lord becomes Archavatara or an Archavigraha at the great cost of getting criticized by atheists, criticized by so many evil-minded people, by saying that, who is your God who cannot even take care of himself, or who is your God who cannot defend himself? These are all things people speak about the Archavigraha of the Lord. But the Supreme Lord is putting aside all those, all those criticisms, all those envious people, and simply he is manifesting as Archavigraha for the pleasure of his devotees. So that is how the Lord is appearing in this material world as an Archavigraha, and he allows himself to be installed by devotees, and then he is accepting the devotees' bhakti, the devotees' love in the form of Archavigraha. Although externally he looks as if he is dependent on the devotee, the only thing actually what is happening is that the Lord is very mercifully engaging his devotee in his service. That is how that is how wonderfully munificent or merciful the Lord is when he comes as Archavatara. So that is why we attach so much of importance to the deity form of the Lord in the temple, because although he appears in front of us in the form of a stone, or in the form of a metal, or in the form of a combination of metals, in the form of wood, all these material elements, the Lord is seemingly appearing in these material elements, but we must understand that in whatever material element or a combination of material elements that the Archavigraha is seen or manifesting in front of our eyes, the Lord always maintains his transcendental position, and that is realized only by the pure devotees of the Lord. And that is why we will also find that somebody who is very serious about his devotion, somebody who is wholeheartedly devoted, those are the devotees who actually feel the reciprocation of the Archa form of the Lord. So there are many wonderful leelas about this deity who is called Guruvayurappan. That word actually means the Lord of this place called Guruvayur, you know. And there is a wonderful history as to how this deity form of the Lord came to be in this place called Guruvayur, which is in central Kerala in the Thrissur district, and worshipped by people from all over Kerala and from all over India even, because the Lord is so beautiful, so attractive and so merciful, and there are literally unlimited number of stories of the reciprocation of the Lord. So the Sthala Purana of Guruvayur actually says that this deity that we see today in Guruvayur, it cannot be dated, in the sense that the legend about the deity says that this Archa form of the Lord was originally given by Brahma to Prashni and Sutapa for them to worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And when they worshipped the Supreme Lord Vishnu like that, and when the Lord was pleased with them, the Lord appeared in front of them, and Lord said, "What is the benediction that you want?" And bang, Prishni and Sutapa said, "We want a son like you, and we want it not once but thrice." So the devotee is also very intelligent, you know. When actually the Lord is appearing in front of the devotee, and devotee says that I want a son like you, we know the Vedic principle that the Supreme Lord is Asamordhva. One word that describes the Supreme Lord is Asamordhva, Asama Urdhva. That means there is nobody equal to or nobody bigger than the Lord. So when a devotee says, I want a son exactly like you, the Lord is left with no choice but to appear himself as the son. Why? Because there is nobody else equal to him. So this is how the devotees are very intelligent when they ask for benedictions from the Lord. So originally the deity form was given by Brahma to Prishni and Sutapa, and that same deity was worshipped by Kashyapa and Aditi when Lord was appearing as their son, as Upendra. And then the same deity was worshipped by Vasudeva and Devaki also. And the deity passed on to Rukmani Devi, and she was worshipping this deity. The same Guruvayurappan deity, that four-armed form of the Supreme Lord that we see, is the deity that was worshipped by all these great personalities. And the deity form of Guruvayurappan that we actually see inside the temple, it is said that it is exactly in that form that the Supreme Lord, when he appeared himself as Krishna to Vasudeva and Devaki, and we read in Krishna book that immediately the Lord appeared in his four-armed form to show Vasudeva and Devaki that actually I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I have come because you have worshipped me like this. So this form that we see in Guruvayur inside the Sanctum Sanctorum is considered to be that self-same form of the Lord. This is exactly how he appeared in front of Devaki and Vasudeva. And as Krishna was about to fold up his leelas and go back to Swadhama, at that time he instructed Uddhava that Dwaraka will be inundated, and this deity that Rukmani Devi has been worshipping in my palace, you should make sure that the deity is established somewhere nicely. And accordingly, Uddhava, he will take the help of Brihaspati. He will inform Brihaspati that the Supreme Lord has asked me that we should establish his deity in a very nice place, in a very nice manner. And by the time they start to go and claim the deity from Dwaraka, already the inundation or the pralaya had started. And at that time, Brihaspati says that in order to clear the water for us to find the deity, we will need the help of Vayu to blow the air and make the deity visible to us. So like this, they call upon Vayu also, and accordingly Brihaspati and Vayu together, they find this deity, and then they are traveling through the sky looking for an apt place to establish this deity. And as they are passing through this place, which is now called Guruvayur, they will find that nearby Lord Shiva is sitting and meditating on the Supreme Lord. And there are so many devotees, rishis, munis sitting around him chanting Vedic hymns and like that. And Guru and Vayu, that is Brihaspati and Vayudeva, they feel an automatic attraction and they feel that we should establish this deity here. So from the sky they come down, and there they meet with Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva will say that I have been waiting for so long for my Lord to come here in the deity form and for him to be established here. So that is how Lord came to be established there. And because he was established by or installed by Guru and Vayu together, that is why that place came to be known as Guruvayur, because the deity is installed personally by these two great personalities. And from that time only that place came to be known as Guruvayur, and the Lord residing there automatically became the deity who is presiding over that whole land, So accordingly he is called as Guruvayurappan. Just like Lord Ananta Padmanabha is residing in this place called Trivandrum, and the place is named as Tiruananthapuram, meaning the place where the Supreme Lord is Ananta Padmanabha is residing. So the place takes the name of the Lord, and the Lord also takes the name of the place. This is another great quality of the Lord, that the Lord actually is known by the place where he resides. So that is another speciality of Guruvayurappan. Everybody knows him as Guruvayurappan. And great devotees actually they call him Krishna Guruvayurappa, like that. So even when you actually call Guruvayurappan, it is actually Lord Vishnu who will reply to us, because that place and the Lord have become like non-different from each other, because the Lord is so mercifully residing there in his four-armed form, beautiful four-armed form in the Anjana Shila. It is a black stone out of which the deity form of the Lord is carved. And if you know, the deities are three types. I am sure many of you know about this. There are Swayamvyakta Kshetras or Swayambhu. That is, a deity automatically appears, So in Bharatavarsha there are quite a few Swayamvyakta Kshetras. That means the Lord himself appeared there in deity form. You will not find any other history. And then the second category is where the Lord is established by people from higher planetary systems. So the deity in Guruvayur, our Guruvayurappan, belongs to that category where he actually doesn't come from this world. Somebody from another realm, they are coming and establishing him here. So, and the third type is the Lord is established by devotees, where he is carved according to the Shastras, according to the Agama Shastras, the Lord's form is carved out of the proper substance, either it is a stone or it is, and the Lord is established by devotees of the Lord. Here also, Brahaspati and Vayu, they are also great devotees of the Lord. Also that they are higher denizens of the higher planets. So that speciality is also there for the Lord. And the Lord was actually installed on the Uthana Ekadashi day. That is the Ekadashi that comes at the close of the Chaturmasya. And that is the day of installation of Lord Guruvayurappan in Guruvayur. So that is worshipped, or that is celebrated as Guruvayur Ekadashi. And that is the day traditionally when Guruvayurappan has the most number of visitors during a day. That is one day in the year when the Lord is giving darshan through and through. The Lord will give darshan right from Nirmalya Darshanam at 3 a.m. in the morning until next day morning. Continuously the Lord without sleeping gives darshan. Because that is the day he was installed there. So he is very specifically, very especially merciful on that day. And so accordingly a lot of devotees come, and the Lord also does not sleep. That whole night he is giving darshan. Then the next day morning there is Nirmalyam, and next day morning there is Ushap Puja, which is the morning puja is done. Then the Lord will do Shiveli outside the sanctum sanctorum, and then the temple is closed. Before noon, that is the only day during the year when Guruvayurappan's temple is closed, because the Lord takes rest early that day. And on that Dwadashi day morning, actually devotees understand that Dwadashi day morning darshan is considered to be the best darshan of the year. They say that Lord Guruvayurappan is the happiest on the Dwadashi day after Guruvayur Ekadashi day, because it seems the Lord is seeing the previous day from morning till this morning. He is seeing so many of his devotees coming, to have his darshan, and that makes the Lord extremely happy. So the Dwadashi morning darshanam, but this is not known to very many people, and also the Dwadashi morning darshanam is for very limited people only. And on Dwadashi, that Dwadashi morning also, selected Brahmanas go in front of the deity, and the chief priest gives all of them coin as dakshina from Guruvayurappan himself for the Brahmanas. So this is one very sweet Leela the Lord continues to perform every year, honoring some few Brahmanas, on Dwadashi day. And that's very sweet, and that is one of the biggest festivals of the year in terms of number of devotees taking darshan on that day. And that is because that is the day the Lord was established in Guruvayur. And as many of you know, Guruvayurappan gives darshanam from 3 o'clock in the morning, which is called Nirmalyam, and there are several closures during the day, and generally the temple will close around 9:15 in the night. So this is how a normal day of Guruvayurappan goes, where the Nirmalya Darshanam at 3 o'clock is considered to be very special, because the 33 crore devatas actually come to worship the Lord in the night, that is after 12:30. Because after 9:15 the temple closes, and then from 9:15, 9:30 until around 12 o'clock there is a special performance in the temple at the back side of the temple, which is called Krishna Natam. That is a dance drama form that is very dear to the Lord. And the Lord actually comes out of the temple to watch that. So that also is known to some people and a lot. So those people who are in the know, many people try to attend Krishnanatam whenever they go and take darshan of Guru Ayappan, because you may be sitting and Guru Ayappan may be sitting next to you watching the act. And how do we know this, that Guru Ayappan is actually sitting and watching this Krishnanatam? This Krishnanatam is basically Leelas of Lord Krishna. So there are some 8 or 9 themes on which Krishnanatam is based, and devotees can offer. It is done every day after 9:30 in the night, and devotees can offer, you want somebody is giving you trouble, and you want some escape from that, you can offer Kamsavadham, that is where Lord will kill Kamsa. So that will be enacted by these players. And Guru Ayappan also will be sitting and watching. Every day he comes out to watch. Earlier, this Krishnanatam used to take place during the Atara Puja time, that is the evening after the Lord's offering is made. At that time, at the back of the temple, this performance used to start. And this great devotee of the Lord named Vilvamangala Thakur, all of you know, he is the one who wrote Krishna Karnamrita. He is a great devotee of the Lord. And he used to come and take darshan of Lord Guru Ayappan, and he could always actually see the Lord face to face. So one day he came in the night to have a darshan, and he found that he could not find the Lord. When we go to take darshan, we go to have darshan of the Lord in any temple. Actually, what we see is only the deity form. We actually don't see Krishna there, because we don't have that Premanjana Churida Bhakti Vilochanena Sandas Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayamti. Only then you can see Yam Shyama Sundaram Achindya Gunaswarupam. Otherwise, we can't see. So we see black stone Guru Ayappan, whereas Vilvamangal Thakur was actually seeing the Lord there. And that day he could not see the Lord. So he circumambulated and then he came. And in those days, the Krishnanatam play used to happen in front of the deity, where the mandapam is. After that, the Krishnanatam used to go on. And he came circumambulating, and then he saw that the Lord is sitting right behind everybody and greatly enjoying Krishnanatam. So then immediately he called up all the authorities and he told them that, you have to do this at a separate time, because, devotees want to come and see the Lord. The Lord is going and sitting somewhere else. So he said that you should do this only after Lord becomes free, after giving darshan to devotees. So that is how, and he said, don't keep it here, because he will be sitting there and watching this. So he is not giving darshan to the devotees. Because why are we going to the Lord? Because we want that Kripa Kataksha of the Lord to fall on us. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati used to say that don't try to see the Lord, try to act in a way that Lord will look at you. So when we go to the temple also, we are sometimes we are getting so worried that I am not able to see. We should be more worried whether somehow, if the deity was able to see me, then it's okay actually, because I want to see for my sense gratification. But the original idea, the actual idea is that I should go and show myself to the Lord. I am your servant, I am here, please look at me. Me looking at you, okay, but then you looking at me is actually more beneficial to me. So it was Vilvamangalam Swami who instituted that this Krishnanatam be shifted behind the temple. And it is a very similar to Kathakali, but it is not Kathakali. It is a different art form altogether. It was instituted by a great devotee of Guru Ayappan he was a king called Manaveda Raja. So he was the one who actually instituted this Krishnanatam in the Guru Ayur temple. So that is one activity that goes on in the temple, and it was because the great devotee Vilvamangalam, he could not see the Lord, And the Lord is also very, very merciful that 3 times a day the Lord comes out. For 3 Shivelis in a day, the Lord will come out of the Sanctum Sanctorum and go around the temple. He at that time also, he makes sure that all the bhutas are getting all their balis properly. He will supervise that as well. And at that time also, he is giving darshan to those devotees who may not be able to see the Lord otherwise. And Lord Guruvayurappan is the only Lord in the whole world where every day he will go riding on the back of a different elephant. He has more than 70 elephants at his beck and call. And every day elephants take turn. And he's the only one who goes around in an elephant with 2 elephants accompanying the main elephant. I'm telling you, this is the glory of Guruvayurappan that is unmatched. You take any deity anywhere in the world, any country, I'm telling you, you will not find this sight. And they are such, what shall I say, so wonderfully decked up. And those elephants are such wonderful devotees. Just imagine that the pujari is holding the Lord in his lap and he is sitting on the elephant. Just imagine what great sukriti these elephants have done, that in turn they get a chance to carry the Supreme Lord on their back practically every 3rd, 4th, 5th or 6th day. And they are so well trained, the elephants. These are all things I have noticed and greatly influenced me when I lived for 1.5 years in Guruvayur. As soon as the elephants enter the temple, they will go and they will stand at a particular place. Then the elephant keeper will take a hose, water hose, and the elephant will lift each of his 4 legs to be washed, And they know it. They will go and, the elephant keeper does not have to put the gourd or anything. When they reach the washing spot, they will just wait there and they will lift their leg one by one. They know it by heart. And by the position where they are standing, they also know which one of us is going to carry the Lord today. These all they know, Because if you are a daily visitor to the temple, within a month you will be able to identify each elephant, And the day, whichever one is carrying Guruvayurappan, that day you will see that his gait is a bit different, He will show his head up a little bit, Today I am the one going to carry, I'm telling you, the Lord is so merciful that even I feel those elephants are all going directly back to Vaikuntha to carry the Lord there also. And he will go around 3 times at 8:45, 9 in the night. One time he is surrounded by the Deva Vadyas, and the 2 times he is surrounded by Asura Vadyas. One time orchestra is different, 2 rounds orchestra is different. Where do you think the Lord will have all these kinds of facilities? And the Lord is so amazingly wonderful that he has given darshan to many of the great devotees. May it be Poondanam, who is the writer of that great work called Jnanappana. That is a Malayalam poetry written by a wonderful Brahmana who is a devotee of the Lord, who was known more than anything for his devotion. This great devotee called Poondanam, he is actually from Malabar. He lived in a place that is almost 60 kilometers away from where the Guruvayurappan temple is. And he would regularly come and have darshan of the Lord, walking all the way from his house in a place called Tirumanthankunnu, that is around almost 60 kilometers away from the temple, and he would come by walk and have darshan of Guru Ayyappan. And he was such a pious Brahmana and greatly devoted to the Lord. And he did not have a child for a very long time. And then after so much of prayers and so much of penances and everything, a child is born to him. And within few days, on the day of the child's Namakaran, the child dies. And that actually made Poondanam a much more focused devotee of the Supreme Lord. And it is in that virakti, it is in that vairagya mood, he wrote this Malayalam poetry called Jnanappana. It is considered to be, it is written in very simple Malayalam language, but it speaks of the highest philosophy. It is something like our Narottam Das Thakur's bhajans, written in very simple Bengali, but they speak of the highest philosophy that you will find anywhere. So Poondanam wrote this wonderful Malayalam poetry called Jnanappana, and he offered it to Guru Ayyappan. And regularly he would come to Guru Ayyar temple and sit and read Srimad Bhagavatam there. He was a great reader of Srimad Bhagavatam. So every opportunity he would get, he would come regularly and he would read full Srimad Bhagavatam, In that Saptaha Krama, he would spend 7 days daily reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, all the 18,000 shlokas inside the temple premises. And once it so happened that Poondanam was reading Rukmani's Krishna taking Rukmani away, that particular chapter in the 10th canto, Poondanam was sitting and reading. And he finished it almost, and then he kept a page mark there and he left because the day was over. And the next day he came and he found that the bookmark is there at the beginning of that chapter. Again, about Rukmani being taken away by Krishna. Beginning of the same chapter. So he again started reciting from the first shloka of that chapter. And then he continued reading for the day and he kept the bookmark somewhere else. And next day, again he came back to start the recitation. So he found again the bookmark is sitting in the same place. So he realized actually there is somebody else here who is wanting me to read this Rukmani Swayamvaram every day. So he was greatly perturbed and he was very anxious to know who it could be. So that day what he did, he kept the bookmark on the Bhagavatam and he left the temple. And after some time, the doors are closed. So he came back again and he peeped through. And what did he see? He saw Lord Shiva is sitting and reading the Bhagavatam, and Parvati Devi is sitting and listening, and all the Bhutaganas are sitting around and listening. And he is reading Rukmani's Apaharan, by Krishna. And Parvati Devi is listening to it greatly. They are both in transcendental Ananda, they are both there. And Lord Shiva says, "What a wonderful Leela by my Lord." And Parvati Devi says, "Indeed, this Leela is very sweet and very wonderful." But she says, "But Poondanam's recitation of this Leela is sweeter than yours." So, this is how the Lord reciprocates, that when somebody is approaching him with devotion, he will actually completely give himself up to that person. And there is also that very famous story when Poondanam was coming one day. He was coming to the temple because he has to walk a long way. And it is that day he got late. So by the time he was walking through the forest, it was night time. And some dacoits, they attacked him, and they took away, he's a very poor Brahmana, he had some few coins and he was wearing one ring in his finger. So they took that money, they took the ring, and then he had a small bag with him. And he said, I will not let go of this bag I cannot give you. Because that bag had his copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So these people started threatening him, the dacoits, they said, we are going to kill you and things like that. So immediately he started shouting, Krishna, Guru Ayappa, please help me, because they want to take away my Bhagavatam from me. He actually, when they took his money away, he did not call Krishna. When they took his only thing, he had that ring on his finger, he did not call Krishna. When they said, we will, take away your bag, and the bag is containing Srimad Bhagavatam, but they are thinking that he is lying, the most important or the, more valuable things are inside the bag, so they want him to give up the bag. So when it came that he has to give up Bhagavatam, he called Guru Ayappan, So at that time, a warrior was coming in a horse, and he came and very bravely he fought all the dacoits, chased them away and gave his money. He gave Pundanam his few coins and his ring back. And then he asked him, who are you? He says, I am the warrior, I am the commander-in-chief of the king, And he says, I am Manga Tachan. That is, at that time of the Samudri, the commander-in-chief was called Manga Tachan. And he is dressed like that in armor and everything. And then he says, I will take you, now it is night, you come with me, I will take you and drop you in the temple. So Pundanam is so happy, he will tell him, see, you saved my Bhagavatam, so what can I give you? Very happily he will give that ring to him, and he says, this ring, please keep it as, my offering of love to you. Please accept this. So he says, okay, very nice, and he dropped Pundanam off and he went off in his horse. And next day, before the temple was opened, in that night the chief priest had a dream, So in the dream, Guru Ayappan came and said, tomorrow morning when you open the temple, you see me, I will be wearing one ring on my finger. You should remove that and give it to Pundanam, because he will be there to have darshan first thing in the morning. Then the Lord will give, the Pujari will give that ring to Pundanam, So the Lord actually proved to him that, see, I am reciprocating with you. You called me and I came. So Guru Ayappan has this great ability that he will actually convince his bhakta that, see, I came. And he will prove it also. And he will prove it. That is how Narayana Bhattatiri could write that wonderful kavya called Narayaniyam. Because everything that Bhattatiri wrote in Narayaniyam actually was inspired by what he was seeing in Guru Ayappan. When we go to Guru Ayappan temple, we can still see that seat where Narayana Bhattatiri, that space where Narayana Bhattatiri used to sit. And if you see from that, you know that you can actually have a straight, you have darshan of the Lord. So, sitting in the sanctum sanctorum, the Supreme Lord inspired Bhattatiri to explain his Leelas. Although Bhattatiri was a great Pandit, he was a Vyakarana expert in Sanskrit. So if you read Narayaniyam, you will actually find that Bhattatiri's Sanskrit is of very high quality. And some of the dashakas that he has written is, very difficult to pronounce, very difficult to master, very difficult to recite. Because he has shown his Sanskrit Panditya throughout his Kriti. And Bhattatiri also at the same time, he was greatly devoted. He had taken his guru's arthritis and he had come to Guru Ayyappan and he had decided that I will write this for 100 days and I will get myself cured. You know, that is how, because he had Vata, and because Guru Ayyappan cured his Vata, that is how Guru Ayyappan got the name Vatalayesan. You know, that is how Guru Ayyappan came to be called as Vatalayesa also. And even today, there are a lot of people who have this arthritis kind of problems. They will go and stay in the temple for a minimum period of 7 days, you know, from the morning, from the opening, attend all pujas and take all darshans and spend 7 days inside the Guruvayur temple, chanting Krishna's holy names, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, reading Narayaniyam. There are a lot of people who get cured of different kind of diseases because Narayana Bhattadiri, although he was writing the wonderful activities of the Supreme Lord, in every dashakam he was requesting the Supreme Lord that please, you know, please cure me from my diseases, you know. Asmin paratman anupadma kalpe त्वमुत्थम उत्थापित पद्म योनिहि अनंत भूमा ममरोग राशिन निरुंथि वातालय Vasa Vishnu. That is how Bhattadiri prays in one dashakam. You know that every dashakam he will remind Guru Ayyappan that please, you know, I am afflicted by disease, please cure me. And that is how he will close the Narayanam also, requesting the Supreme Lord that, you know, give me Ayur Arogya Saukhyam. So that is also one reason why a lot of people recite Narayaniyam, so that you will have Ayu, Arogya and Saukhyam, because Bhattadiri got all these three things. At the same time, Bhattadiri was very proud about the fact that he is a Pandit. And Pundanam was very well known as a great devotee of the Lord, but in Panditya, he was nowhere near Bhattadiri. So when Pundanam wrote Jnanapana in Malayalam, he took it to Bhattadiri and showed him, you know. So Bhattadiri said, first of all, this is a very low language, you know. I deal only in Sanskrit. And he said, many of the things where you have used, you know, your Vyakaran is very poor, you know. Wherever you are writing Vyakaran and some little Sanskrit poetry also Pundanam has written. So Bhattadiri is going through it and editing and he is saying, no, everywhere your Vibhakti is wrong. You know, Vibhakti is one thing in Sanskrit grammar. So that time Guru Ayyappan told Bhattadiri that his Vibhakti may not be good, but his Bhakti is better than yours. And only Narayana Bhattadiri could hear this. You know. And the Lord came as a very small boy in front of Narayana Bhattadiri. And just like what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did to Kesava Kashmiri, the Lord told Narayana Bhattadiri, you recite one dashakam. And Bhattadiri recited one dashakam that he has composed. And the small boy, because dashakam means 10, you know, 10 stanza, that is one dashakam. 100 dashakams make Narayaniyam. Totally 1034 shlokas are there in Narayaniyam. Dashakam means 10, but in some dashakams there are 11, 12 like that. Minimum 10. That is the thing. So Bhattadiri is reading one dashakam, reciting one dashakam. The small boy, in every shloka he pointed out one mistake to Bhattadiri. You know. So he was so astonished. Very similar to Nimai Pandit and Kesava Kashmiri, you know. Very similar. Young boy, Lord comes as a very young boy and he will, you know, then Bhattadiri will understand that I should not criticize the other Mahabhagavata who is also appearing every day in front of Guru Ayyappan and asking for his mercy. So like this, the Lord has shown his mercy to so many devotees. Pundanam and Narayana Bhattadiri come to mind because they are two most famous people as devotees of the Supreme Lord. And in Tirumandam Kundu, that is the the place of Pundanam, which is, as I said, 60 kilometers away from Guruvayur. Pundanam was towards his old age, he stopped going to the temple and he was worshipping a small deity in his own house. He had established a deity and a temple and he was worshipping Guru Ayyappan from there only. And still there is a place in that temple. Even today if you go, they will show you that this is the place where Pundanam fell down and appeared from material vision, because actually Guru Ayyappan came and held his hand and took him back with him. So even today, if you are visiting Tirumandam Kunda, that is where is a very famous Devi temple is there, and just about 2 or 3 kilometers from that huge temple, all the local people, they know where Pundanam's house is there, and there if you go, they will show you that this is where, you know, the Lord came and took away his devotee back home, back to Godhead. So Guru Ayyappan is one who actually has shown through many of his devotees that I reciprocate very, very personally, and he takes all the service very personally. All the service the Lord takes very personally. And even today, even very recently, I have heard it personally that whenever the chief priest of Guruvayur temple, they have something like Kshetra Sannyasa. That means once you are chosen to be the priest of Guru Ayyappan for a period of 6 months, the day you enter the temple, until your 6-month period is over, you will not go out. So you will live as a brahmachari inside the temple. Most of those brahmanas also take full diksha, in the sense that they don't shave, they don't cut nails. They will 6 months they will live like that, you know. And there is also one family called the Tantri of Guru Ayyappan. Tantri is considered to be the parent of the deity. So they also have, the Tantri also has his house right outside Guru Ayyappan's temple, you know, just walking distance away from the temple, the Tantri lives. From olden days itself, they live there only. Because whenever the Archaka, whenever the Pujari has any difficulty that he cannot perform his Nitya Puja Seva, the Tantri will have to come that day into the temple and he has to be the standby and do all the pujas. And in the Tantri family, they always say that whenever, because sometimes what happens is that this chief priest, even he will not know because he is not going out of the temple, and the news may be reaching late. If there is a death in his family, then that immediately disqualifies him from offering worship to the Lord. You know, then he should not enter inside the temple. Then the temple will have to be, there is, you know, Ashuddham, and then you have to do Shuddhi Kalasham and all those things. So, several times the Tantri family has told that the previous day they will get, you know, somebody in the family will get to know that tomorrow the chief priest will not be able to attend the puja. So, automatically they will wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and they will do all their ablutions, and they will be there at 2:45 when the door has to open. And that day Pujari will not be able to come. So the Tantri will automatically come and he will open and he will start the worship. So these are things that, you know, for people who are very far away, they may feel that these are all some miracle is happening. No. These are actually, when we go close, we will understand that the Lord is actually reciprocating. Although he is in deity form, although he is Archa, he may look like, you know, his Ashtabandhana is done. Guru Ayyappan is, you know, Ashtabandhana Kalasham has been done on him. That means he cannot move 1 millimeter this side or that side. That is how Archa is there. But you see, although he is in Ashtabandhana, he is actually moving about, he is mingling with his devotees, and he is reciprocating with his devotees. It is very, very wonderful. Very, very wonderful. And every day when he is going around in the Shiveli, and when you are actually able to lay one's eyes on that Supreme Lord, he is so attractive. He is so attractive that you will want to keep on seeing him. You know, that is something very, very special about Lord Guruvayurappan, that he will attract you like a magnet. And from the history of these great devotees, we understand that he really takes care, you know, including his elephant. You know, very famous that there is Guruvayur Kesavan, one elephant was there, one of the chief elephants of Guruvayurappan. That elephant actually left his body on an Ekadashi day. You know, the elephant came in front of the Lord, paid obeisances, because elephants are trained like that. When they come, you know, in front of the Lord, they will, you know, they will do their pranam in front of the Lord. Only then the pujari will lift the deity on top of the elephant. So this elephant actually came and paid obeisance in front of Guruvayurappan and then went and passed away. So the Lord has, Guruvayurappan has proved that, you know, I will take you back even if you are an elephant. If you have served me very sincerely with lot of love and affection for me, I will take you back. So many things that we read in Shastras, we actually see that a deity will reciprocate and prove that whatever I give as instruction in Shastra, as deity, as Archa, I also ensure that that is being done, and I will show you that I am doing it. You know, just like in the case of Pundanam, you know, he actually showed that I will do it. So these are some of the Leelas of Guruvayurappan. There are so many of them, and I will request all of you that next time you do visit Kerala, you know, Guruvayurappan is so attractive, but he is very busy. So generally our tendency is that somehow we go, somehow we stand in the queue, and somehow we just take darshan, and you know, we want to get back, you know. So my humble request is that, you know, when we go, please do see all these things. You know, there is a spot where Shankaracharya landed, you know, inside the temple. He was traveling by air, you know, from Kaladi to Sringeri, going from one matha to another. And as he was traveling above Guruvayur, the Lord was out on procession in Shiveli, and Shankaracharya was in a hurry. So he didn't want to touch down, you know, at Guruvayurappan. So what happened? He was traveling by air, you know, by his yogic power, and when he reached right on top of Guruvayurappan temple, he fell down. And just as, you know, the elephant will move, you know, it's the third corner from the front of the temple when the elephant starts moving. And there, plonk, he fell right in front of the elephant. In Namaskara form, he fell. And then he realized that I should have properly come down and paid obeisances to my Lord, because I didn't do it, the Lord forced me to do. And then he stayed there and wrote Achyutastakam, you know. He wrote an Ashtakam glorifying the Supreme Lord, Shankaracharya. So that spot is there, and even today, when the Lord is out on Shiveli, he will come and he will stand there to accept obeisance from Shankaracharya. So like this, around the temple, inside the temple, in the vicinity, there are so many places, spots where the Lord has done various wonderful Leelas. And if we spend some time in these places, then we will be able to appreciate and that will actually increase our bhakti and attachment towards the Lord. So I would always recommend to all devotees that please do visit Guruvayur and please don't rush, stand in queue, take, have a darshan and run away. Don't do that. Spend some time, take, see the Lord on top of his elephant. These are all very, very wonderful. If you see once, you will get addicted to it. If you see once, you will become addicted to it. Such wonderful is the Leela, and the Lord gets various type of wonderful offerings throughout the day. Every day he gets morning offering is, I don't know how many 100 liters of palpayasam every day morning he gets. Every night he gets palada, and then he has ada, and then he has appam. That is there only in the night, And on Ashtami Rohini Day, that is now coming on the 10th of September, they will offer, I don't know, I think 1 lakh appams or something. The entire around the sanctum sanctorum will be like a yajna, because so many assistant pujaris will be, they will have set up small chulas and they will be all cooking appams, and it will all be continuously being offered to the Lord. So as you enter the temple on an Ashtami Rohini day, you will be transported to Vaikuntha like it is a, Vaikuntha where only appams are there and Guruvayurappan is there. I am telling you, that is a very wonderfully transcendental feeling. I am sharing all this because I have been fortunate at least to attend 1 or 2 Ashtami Rohinis, 1 Guruvayur Ekadashi, 1 Dwadashi, and these are all, I can tell you, that out of the world experiences. So those people who are from Kerala in this satsanga, at least once in a lifetime, these are things we should experience. One Krishnanatam we should experience, because there is always that expectation that I am sitting and maybe Krishna is on my left or on my right, I don't know. So, you will have that tingling feeling. If you actually realize that the Lord is sitting and watching Krishnanatam, then you will always be very expectantly looking, whether he is sitting on my right or my left, because I am for sure he is sitting and watching. So like that, everything, all the rituals, everything is so attractive and very transcendental. So wonderful experiences with Lord Guruvayurappan, and I can tell you that you actually desire for something in front of Guruvayurappan, he will actually do it for you. And if you become overconfident about your desire, he will immediately show you that, you don't be overconfident, today I shall not do it for you. So I have experimented all these things on a day by day basis and received all these kinds of personal lessons, during my time over there. So for me, it is like a lifetime experience, and I would request that all of you should go and, stay a couple of days and take the, see the Lord early in the morning, see the Lord last thing in the night, all these things, because everything is equally wonderful. So thank you very much, all of you, for giving me the opportunity to speak a few words about Guruvayurappan. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. So wonderfully explained so many leelas, but I know you have so much in stock. Because of the time, we have to stop, because I think in some other time we will have the part 2 of this one, because you in rushly in time hurry you closed this many pastimes. Even you didn't Guru Rama's pastime you couldn't touch, and many Manjula's pastime. So I would like next week also we'll continue this.
Sure, why not?
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna. So amazing. It is really you took us to this Lord Guruvayurappan's dham there, and I'm really thankful to you, Prabhu. So Prabhu, one question, Prabhu. What is the reason for this three Vadyas. One is Dev Vadya and two is three Shevelis, three different Vadyas. You said two are Asura Vadyas. What is the reason for that?
That is according to the Agamas, it is said that for the first round, the Lord is accompanied by the Devas. So all Deva Vadyas are played. This is there only in Ataya Shiveli. In the last Shiveli of the day, one round Lord will be accompanied by the Devatas. So they will have Deva Vadyas. And 2 rounds, Lord will be accompanied by Asuras. So they will play Asura Vadyas. So that is why after 1 round you will see that all the accompaniments will change, and same guys will be playing, but they will be playing different things.
And they also, the second and third round, they run, and most likely the speed will be more also.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
This is very wonderful. I was given a taste for this by His Holiness Bhaktivinoda Swami, because when I lived in Guruvayur, whenever Bhaktivinoda Maharaj comes to Guruvayur, a must do for Maharaj is Ataya Shiveli Darshanam of Guruvayurappan. And if he is there for 3 days, we have 3 days